Hi, my name is Jeffrey Proud and I wrote the book Megasmart. And that's the guide to parent-driven education for kids and for you. All right. The reason why I'm doing this is because of the fact that we have a new problem. We've got the 21st century, and the 21st century is changing everything. Our jobs, our economy, our work, our politics, everything about the world as we know it is changing, and it's changing fast. Education, our money, our banking system, everything that we know in the world of finance, everything we know in the world of demographics, banking, investing, everything is now changed. We think the world is a place where everything is static, where jobs are obtained by people going out and interviewing for jobs and getting something to do. That's not the same as it was and we used to be. We need new coping mechanisms. The New World Model deals with education. It deals with skills. It deals with training. It deals with these things, and the key to it is education, how smart you are, how you use your brain, how things work. In this webinar, which is really a preamble to the seminar that I give live, which I invite you all to, and I'll show you how to do it, is the key to our future. All right. My brief story is that I was a businessman for 30 years. I spent 10 years in the military. I was a teacher then for 10 years. And as a teacher, I decided that I didn't know that much about teaching. So while I was a teacher, I went back to school and I got a master's degree in education and finally a PhD in education. Megasmart is actually, the book I wrote was for my PhD thesis. It was for an action research project based in education, dealing with the things that I'm talking about. Megasmart is a new way of the future. It's how to be successful. I originally wrote it because of the fact that kids are not being educated the way we need them to be for the future. And they certainly aren't being educated the way parents would like them to be so that they can succeed in life. All right, now, what I did, and I was very successful in life, in business, like I said, I spent almost 30 years in business, and I was very successful. I sold my last business, my last major business, I guess, in 1999. I was 55 years old. I was going to retire. And in fact, I did retire, and I was happy. You know, had a pile of cash from the business sale, and what I did was, I then decided after a month or two of being retired that I was getting bored, so I decided to go into teaching. And my original job in teaching, since I was an engineer and sold an engineering business, I didn't have a lot of teaching credentials. So I went and I was originally hired as an administrative and a teaching assistant. All right, so I originally was assigned to do things with special ed students. And I worked out ways to instruct them that were a little bit other than orthodox, but they were very effective. And I used that to teach these kids how to do things that were extraordinary. In the process of doing this, I learned the most powerful thing that you could possibly know, and that's how to use your brain. I also learned how big and how strong and how powerful a human brain is. All right, so what this whole course does, is it teaches you how to do things like how to educate your children. It also teaches you how to educate yourself. Right? These things are not that difficult to do, and they teach you how to succeed in business. how do you accumulate wealth, how to be smarter, how to invest, how to deal with real estate, how to deal with being an entrepreneurial person in today's world of changing jobs and job structures. And it teaches you how to think what I call exponentially. The current state of education is abysmal, all right, and I found that out. I had a lot of difficulty when I went and first started teaching kids. And I had kids that were hiding under desks. I mean, they were really kids that had difficulty learning, that's for sure. My job was to work with them to get them up to speed. What happened was I actually ended up succeeding beyond the parents' wildest expectations. I actually was training kids that were succeeding above their peers at their grade level that were not special ed students. The current state of education and jobs, like I said, is bad. Right? Obviously, if you're aware of the current affairs of things, jobs, jobs, jobs is the mantra of the day. We are in the midst of a great recession. It could be considered, and it is considered by many, a depression, equivalent in a lot of ways to the Great Depression. Right now, they say we've got, I don't know what it is, 7.6% unemployment. But when you add up all the unemployment, and I think they call it U6, all right, the actual number is above 15% unemployed. When you look at the youth of the country, it's above 20%. If you consider all the people that aren't employed who have dropped out of the workforce, it's probably in the neighborhood of 25%. That's about as high as we ever got during the Great Depression. And we're still doing things like pumping money into the society, doing things that are odd as far as the banking world is concerned, the financial world. And coping with this is difficult. You have to keep your brain up to speed. Things have changed. You know, when I was young, getting a job seemed to be the way of doing things. I didn't quite do things that way because my life was a little bit scattered. So I went to school at different times. I had to finish college in the military. I had to then succeed basically on my own in the world of electrical engineering, and that was the business that we sold. Things have changed now, like I said. Predictions have been made. In fact, I think Daniel Pink was the one who wrote the book, The Contract World, or the world of jobs is going to be changing to individual contractors rather than people being employed by people. Individual contractors is, I think, the way I always worked, and I think it's the way for most people work, because you get paid by virtue of your performance. Your performance, then, I always got paid on commission, all right? So the fact is, you did nothing, you got paid nothing. But you got paid commensurate with your success. I was either a commissioned salesperson, I was a manufacturer's representative in electronics for a long period of time, and then I had an engineering business, all right, for a long period of time. And those two things, I was either a representative working on commission or a business owner, which made money by virtue of the business succeeding and growing, and whatever business did, I got paid for. But you get paid then for the business you bring in. All right? You get paid based on what you contribute. The bad news about all of this is that it's going to be very difficult to succeed in the future. The good news is that anybody can do it as long as they have the right brain set. All right? Who wins and who loses in this new world? Well, obviously, people need to make, in our society, about $20 an hour to succeed. That works out to about $40,000 a year, which is about the average amount of money that a family makes in the United States. That's, what, $20 an hour. All right, so what we have to do as a society, or government, or combination thereof, is to get people so that they're worth that $20 an hour. The only way we can do that is through education, training, skill set development that leads to people being worth that much money. All right, now, how did I all figure all this out? Well, let me explain a little bit. The business world that I was in, I sold my last business when I was 55, and I said I retired. Then I went into teaching. All right. My first jobs as a teacher kind of convinced me that I didn't really know that much about teaching, and there was a lot to learn. It wasn't just as easy as sitting down with children and trying to work them through their lessons. There's a lot of psychology involved. There's a lot of keeping focus, of how to develop concentration and how to develop self-esteem in children. And so I finally decided that I needed more education, so I went back and got a master's degree in education from the University of St. Catharines, which is a local university here, and eventually kept going and got and did this work on Megasmart, which was really written to be a PhD thesis, for which I was awarded a PhD from Belford University. And that was the extent of my then education. However, what happened is I figured out that